Hey, it's Ryan with S&B, and today we're going to be doing an install video on our 03 to 07 Super Duty crew cab mounts. I'm going to go ahead and show you everything that comes in the kit if you order. This is part number 81-1001. We also sell these for the regular cabs. So first, sticker exploded views. Here's one of the mounts themselves. There's a lot of different components here, and I'll go over all that in a second. But that's the entire mount, and then we also include core support mounts now too. A little different shape, but our same silicone and that same great rod. Now we've started including a check fixture as well. So this comes with every one here, and it's just a water jet cut piece of plastic that basically lets you know when your mount's been fully compressed. So if your Loctite on that bolt might have bound up, this will tell you that, hey, that bolt didn't go in far enough, your torque wrench might have gone off, but your mount's not fully compressed. Next thing up, you get some Ford OEM hardware bolts and nuts. So we just wanted to make sure that you're safe. We don't want you reusing any of your old bolts, so we just included bolts for every location from Ford in our kit. Now we're going to go over the tools required for the install. You need a good torque wrench that goes up to 60 foot-pounds, a good breaker bar slash ratchet. Socket-wise, you're going to need a 15/16, 13/16. Those are going to be for all of your actual body mount bolts. And then an 18mm, which is going to get you all of your seat bolts and your core support mounts. And then I like to use an 18mm open end box wrench to get the back seat bolts underneath the seats. So it's just a little easier to break them loose. And then I like to use a panel popper on the two front kick plates underneath the dash. There's a Christmas tree that just comes out real easy with those. And then a Torx 50 for the front seat belt bolts. And on some of the older trucks, you're gonna need a big Torx 55 to remove the seats. The 04s, 03s, some of them like to use the Torx instead of the 18mm to bolt the seats into the body. S&B recommends that this installation is done by a qualified professional in a professional environment and done in accordance with the Ford service manual. Any attempt to do this at home or with a floor jack or using an impact wrench will void your S&B warranty and can cause unnecessary risk to yourself or your vehicle. Now we're going to be removing the back seat from the truck using an 18mm socket. Some of the older trucks use the Torx bit I talked about earlier. We're just going to go ahead, there's one bolt here, two on the other side mirroring that, and I'll show you the ones behind in a second. So now that we've got the front bolts removed, I went ahead and flipped the back seat up and folded down the cargo storage area, and you can see the bolt right in here. There's 3 locations where these bolts are across the back if you have the split seat. And this is just going to be an 18mm. I just like to use the open end and come in here. I already had this one broken loose. But once you've got it broken loose, you can just go ahead and use your fingers. Now that we're on the other side of the vehicle, on the split side, there's another bolt in the corner right here on the far passenger side, and then one right by the 60/40 split. Both 18mm. I'm just going to use that same wrench, break them loose, and then take them off by hand. With all the seat bolts removed, we're going to go ahead and fold up the cargo tray, flip the backs down, and I'll flip this side down in a second, and then I'm going to get a buddy, and we're going to lift the whole seat out of the truck. So now we're going to go ahead and pull the back seat out of the cab. We're going to flip the backrest down and then pull the headrest out. One on both sides to pull the headrest. And you're going to have to pull up a little to get them over the studs, and then just start inching it out. And you have to angle it vertically. Now with the seat removed, we're going to go ahead and remove the tray that holds the lift, bottle jack, and the torque lug wrench. So to do that, we're just going to pull the screw off that holds them both down inside the tray. With that out, pull the bag of stuff out of here and expose the bolts that hold the tray down. These are going to be 8mm bolts. And these are already finger tight. With all of that done, the whole tray can be removed. Now with the tray out, we've pulled the carpet back a little bit and exposed the body mount heads from the bolts. on the back driver and the back passenger side. Now we're going to move on to the driver and passenger seat. They have protective covers over the bolt heads. And these on this truck are going to be 18 millimeters, but again, on some of the older trucks, they're going to be the torque style. So just depending on your truck, go ahead and just break these loose and remove. There's back left, back right, and then mirrored on the passenger seat. So now we've got the back bolts out of the front seats. We're going to go ahead and remove the front two bolts out of the driver and passenger seat. And to do this, there's a plastic cover down here that I'm just going to pop off. It just unclicks from the bolt head, so pull right next to the bolt head. Again, going to be an 18 millimeter. And I'm going to go ahead and get these loose right now. So now we're back where the back seat was. We're going to remove the power for the seat heater and the seat motors. This truck has both those options. If your truck does not, you might not have this power cord, but I will show you what the connector looks like in a second. It's going to be the one coming with the seat moved all the way forward. You'll see the cord come out. And all you're going to do to pull it is just push down on this tab right here and just remove it. And once that's removed and the one on the passenger side is removed, you're ready to remove your seats from the truck. So now with our electrical unplugged, I'm going to go ahead and just lift directly up on the seat and take it out of the truck. So now we're going to go ahead and peel the carpet back to reveal the body mount that's right here and then mirrored on the driver's side as well. To do that, I've already removed the front and rear, just a few tabs worth of the kick plate, and you can do that by just gently prying. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove the bottom bolt from this seat belt. And to do that, I'm just going to use a Torx 50 and loosen this up. With the seat belt now free, we can go ahead and just lightly peel this carpet back. And you're gonna kind of have to wiggle it over whatever accessories you have back here. And it will reveal, and we'll show you right here, there's a rubber grommet.
Pull the carpet back for it.
And with the rubber grommet out, there is the second row of bolts. So the back row, and then here's another row. And we'll move up to the front of the truck and get those right now. Now in the front corner, we're gonna go ahead and remove the kick plate right here, the corner kick plate. I've already pulled the foot one. To do this again, just lightly kind of peel backwards. And there's a few tabs in here. And once those tabs are out, the piece should be free. And then there's one Christmas tree in the back. So get a panel popper and just remove that, and the kick plate will come off free. Now that we've removed the kick plate from the door trim, we're going to remove the front corner one. This just pries off. I've already freed it up. And then there's a Christmas tree right in the back. So take your panel popper, get under that, and just work that out. Once that's free, this whole piece comes out and your carpet can be peeled back. And with your carpet out, you'll now see the next grommet for our third set of bolts. I get this grommet out here. And that bolt is just all the way in the bottom of this grommet location. So now we're going to start removing the body mount bolts. We're going to start in the back passenger corner using a 13/16 socket. And remember, do not use an impact here. That thread locker will bind up if you use an impact, and it's just a mess. So I like to just break it loose by hand and run them all the way out by hand. And this just ensures that you have a good installation. So now we're going to remove the driver's side rear most mount bolt. This is going to be a 15/16 socket. Again, just breaking it loose by hand, and I like to run them all the way out by hand. Now we're going to do the in-cab middle row of mounts. Again, 15/16 socket. Just roll the carpet back. I like to use a long extension just to get above that carpet. Now we're on the passenger side middle row, and this is again going to be a 13/16 matching up with the furthest back row. And I like to use that long extension, as I was saying, on the other side, just to give me room to get over this carpet when I have it rolled it back. And now we're going to do the final row of the in-cab bolts right underneath the brake pedal using the 15/16 socket. And one more time, I'm just gonna reiterate, breaking them loose by hand, running them all the way out by hand. Now I'm gonna remove the passenger side frontmost mount back to the 13/16. Same location as the driver's side, just opposite corner. And these are pretty tight, generally. So now we're gonna remove the two front core support nuts. And right by your intercooler boot, deep 19 millimeter. I like to use a few extensions with some swivel heads on them just to get me all the way down there and around the AC pipes. And once that's loose, we'll move over to the driver's side. And it's pretty hard to show you on the driver's side as it's underneath the airbox, but it's exactly the opposite of this location. And same thing, just snake your extensions down in there and it'll come right out. So we're gonna get the cab up right now. Only make sure you lift just high enough to remove the mount. We're leaving everything attached, so we can't lift the cab crazy high here. So I like to go maybe 1.5 inches off the mount itself, and then just be careful when you're doing it. So now that we've got some separation between the cab and the body mounts, we're gonna go ahead and just remove each corner. The bottom of this mount had already fallen off, but they should just slide right out. And here's the lower from that side, and we'll go ahead and go over these when we're done. There's a few of them that are just completely shot. For example, like this one right here. I'll wiggle it off, but you'll be able to see in a second. I mean, there's no foam left at all. I mean, that mount was just sitting metal on metal. Now we're underneath the truck here on the front driver's side frame rail. I'm using a 19 millimeter. And then I've got my friend holding the body mount from above, using just a big pair of channel lock pliers, but you can use a pipe wrench as well. And all you're doing with the guy on top is trying to make sure that the mount doesn't spin while I loosen it up down here. And it's kind of a challenge. So you're gonna have to figure this one out a little bit on your own. And there, it just broke loose. So now we've gone ahead and removed all of our body mounts from the frame rail, and here I'm just holding two examples of why you bought your S&B mounts in the first place. You can see all the foam's deteriorated. As you're going over mounts, it actually sits, as you're going over bumps, you're just hitting metal right here against your frame rail, hearing a clunking noise, truck's riding really rough. So with that said, we're gonna go ahead and get our S&B silicone mounts out and start getting them into the truck. We've got 2 pieces of paper that come with each one. This tells you, the exact correct index of each mount, how it installs into the frame. And then we have 2 mounts that are different in here, our core support mounts. And there's also, this shows you where those go in the frame as well. But I'll just go over that right now with you. So working from the bottom to the top, and we'll show you this under the truck as well in position. So this red card right here indicates where the frame rail goes. So if you're looking at it from the side, everything above the red card needs to be above the frame rail. Everything below the red card needs to be below the frame rail. That's really the easiest way to explain it. So when you go to put them underneath the truck, just pull it at the red card. Remember to remove the red card. And then everything underneath that comes from the bottom. Everything from above that comes from the top, and you're ready to get them in place. So here we are under the truck, and as I was talking about earlier, it's very important to get the whole mount situated correctly in the truck. So my thumb right now is where that red piece of paper was that you earlier removed. So everything I'm holding here goes above the frame rail. So this would be the plastic keyed cap, red silicone shim, isolator, metal cap, and then your plastic shim on top. And so this just keys right into the frame. It's the same shape, and that sits right there. I like to install the lowers after I've actually lowered the truck down so that I can get the bolts started to keep them up. And so we're gonna keep doing all of these. I've got my friend working on the other side, and everyone under the cab installs the same. The front core support mounts are a little different. We'll show you those next. So now we're at the front on the core support mounts. Again, this piece of paper, everything under that goes inside the box frame. Everything above the red paper goes above the boxed frame. So I'll go ahead and just put that down for now. And these are actually a little taller than the stock mounts, but they compress to the same height as the stock mounts. So you might have to raise the truck up a little more, but don't worry. Once the truck's sitting down on them, it's gonna be the same height it was before. So once those, again, index, they're keyed into the frame rail. And then This is the tricky one here. And I sometimes like to do these, I'll set them in here right now, but I'll come through later. I like to get it right above my bolt hole, and then I'll come through later and insert the bolt from the bottom once the truck's sitting down in the mount, so then it's easy to get that nut on the top and keep it all in one place. So now, using our 2 exploded views, we're gonna figure out which bolts go where. So your 2 bolts in an individual bag with the washers and nuts included. These are gonna be your core support bolts. These are gonna install from the bottom, and then washer plate and nut on top. And then in here, your assortment of bolts, refer to the other page here that has the rows. So row 2 and 3, you're right under the pedals, passenger and driver side. And then row 2, right behind the front seats, are going to be the 4 same length blue Loctite bolts. And then for row 4, driver's side and passenger side are a little different. So passenger side driver's side is going to have the skinny one with pink Loctite, and then your passenger side is going to have thick washer, blue Loctite, and the weird neck down bolt. And so we're going to go ahead now and start getting these into position in the cab first, and then we'll come back into the core support last. So now we're going to get our core support bolts installed. So here you're going to have your bolt that's going to come from the bottom through the access hole, through the mount, and then into the engine bay. And so I'm going to give my friend one with an extension to help him press it up. And I'm going to take the plate washer and then the nut that also has a washer built into it, and watch down here for that whole bolt to come through, and then get him started by hand. And when we're tightening these down, he'll have to hold it from down below as well. So now I'm going to go ahead and set my torque wrench to 60 foot-pounds for the front 2 core support mounts, while I have my friend hold them from the bottom with a ratchet so that I can get to 60 foot-pounds. So now we're going to go ahead and get the mounts inside the cab torque down. You're going to be using a 15/16 on every position in here except for the back driver side, which will be a 13/16. And all of these bolts will be going to 60 foot-pounds. So just set the torque wrench and start clicking away. Now we've got all of our bolts torqued down in the cab and core support bolts. So we're going to go ahead and get our carpet tucked back under our kick plates. Then once that's done, get the seats back in the truck, as well as get the front bumper on. Now, this isn't the easiest install, but it can be done relatively quickly if you've done a few of them before. If it's your first one, just take your time, and if you have any mounts stick together, just try to pry at them, be patient, apply some heat, and worst comes to worst, you might have to cut them up. But if you have any questions, call us anytime, and have a good day.